Welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping right into a topic today that is, frankly, absolutely everywhere. We are demystifying AI hallucinations. You know, if you've played around with a generative AI chatbot recently, you've probably noticed that sometimes it just completely makes things up. So today we're going to figure out exactly what an AI hallucination is, why these incredibly advanced, mind-blowing models just invent confident wrong answers out of thin air, and most importantly, how we can actually spot them. Okay, let's dive into this. Professor Ethan Mollick over at the Wharton School totally hit the nail on the head when he described ChatGPT as an omniscient, eager to please intern who sometimes lies to you. And honestly, this tendency to just confidently lie is so common now that back in 2023, the Cambridge Dictionary literally updated its definition of the word hallucinate to include this exact AI phenomenon. It was even their word of the year. To show you what this actually looks like in practice, imagine you're searching for a way to make cheese stick to your pizza a bit better. Well, Google's AI overview confidently suggested adding about an eighth of a cup of non-toxic glue to your pizza sauce. Yeah, glue. So where on earth did it get this terrible, completely inedible advice? It actually pulled it from a sarcastic joke made on Reddit over a decade ago, back in 2013. But the thing is, the AI didn't get the joke. It just presented it to the user as a completely factual, helpful instruction. So, here is our roadmap for today. First, what is an AI hallucination? Second, why AI invents fake facts? Third, real-world risks and fallout. Fourth, how to catch and reduce them. And finally, number 5, the human in the loop. Section 1. What is an AI hallucination? Defining the illusion. So, at its core, an AI hallucination is a response generated by AI that contains false or misleading information, but it's presented as absolute fact. Now, some software engineers actually push back against the term hallucination, right? Because it kind of unfairly anthropomorphizes computers. It makes them sound a bit too human. So you might also hear terms like confabulations, delusions, or just flat out fabrications. But whatever you want to call it, the key takeaway here is that the AI is delivering this completely false information with total confidence and this quiet, unwavering authority. It's absolutely crucial to understand the difference between a standard AI mistake and a full-blown hallucination. With your ordinary mistakes, the issue is usually pretty traceable, right? Like maybe it's an outdated fact or it mislabeled an image because the lighting was weird. But a hallucination? That is entirely fabricated content with zero grounding in real data. It's like a giant puzzle where the pieces themselves are just made up. And they are so much harder to spot because they adhere perfectly to real linguistic patterns. They sound incredibly authoritative, even when they are fundamentally entirely wrong. Section 2. Why AI invents fake facts. Stripping the magic. And this brilliantly illustrates why we need to look under the hood at how large language models actually work. See, they don't know facts. They don't actually understand what words mean. Instead, they do 3 basic things. First, they observe patterns in massive amounts of training data. Second, they estimate the most statistically likely next token or word. And third, they output that sequence. That's the whole shebang. It is essentially a giant statistical pattern matching engine playing a highly advanced game of autocomplete. It optimizes for what sounds plausible, not necessarily for what is objectively true. Because these models are prioritizing plausibility over truth, a few different things can force a hallucination. First off, if the training data is flawed or biased, well, the model just learns those flaws as normal patterns. There's also that inherent design limit we just talked about, prioritizing probability. Plus, sometimes the model does what's called overfitting. That's where it latches onto irrelevant correlations, like, I don't know, assuming every animal on a light background must be a cat. And finally, bad actors can use adversarial attacks or prompt injections to essentially trick the AI into ignoring its own safety guardrails. Section 3. Real-world risks and fallout. The stakes of blind trust. $5,000. That is the exact fine issued by a judge in the Southern District of New York to lawyers in the Mata versus Avianca case. Basically, these lawyers used ChatGPT to write a legal brief, and the AI hallucinated 6 completely fake case precedents. The lawyers didn't bother to check the AI's work, and they actually submitted these ghost precedents to the court. Well, the judge was definitely not amused, called the AI-generated opinions gibberish, and fined the legal team for bad faith conduct. And it is not just the legal sector taking hits. In 2024, Air Canada had to pay damages after its own customer support chatbot hallucinated a store policy. The AI incorrectly told a grieving customer that they could retroactively request a bereavement discount within 90 days of booking their ticket. Now, that was absolutely not the real policy. but a Canadian tribunal ruled that the airline was in fact legally responsible for the confident, fabricated details their AI provided. Now, what's really interesting about this is how AI hallucinations are impacting scientific research. In a 2023 study published in the Curious Journal of Medical Science, researchers actually asked ChatGPT-3 to generate citations. Get this, out of 178 total references, 69 of them had completely fake or non-existent digital object identifiers. That is a massive, massive chunk of entirely fabricated academic citations just being casually presented as real, verified science. Section 4. How to catch and reduce. The practical toolkit. So how do we fix this? Well, one of the most powerful structural solutions out there right now is RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Basically, instead of letting the AI just free associate based on the entire wild west of the internet, RAG forces the AI to look at a specific curated database of trusted documents. The system searches your trusted data first, retrieves the relevant information, and only then allows the AI to generate a response based strictly on that specific context. It's kind of like giving the AI an open book test instead of making it guess from memory. Now, for those of us creating or even just prompting AI day to day, there are some highly effective mitigation strategies we can use. Engineers absolutely must use high quality, diverse data and fine tune their models for specific tasks. But for everyday users, the real secret is structured prompts. You've got to give the AI clear formats and strict boundaries. Actually, the absolute best guardrail you can add to your prompt is simply instructing the AI to say, "I do not know," if it cannot find the answer in the provided text. It's a total game changer. Let's move to section 5 and see how this builds into the final line of defense, the human in the loop. At the end of the day, we absolutely must treat generative AI as a drafting and research assistant, never, ever as a definitive authority. Human oversight is just essential here. Whether you're doing regulatory filings, writing legal briefs, or seeking medical knowledge, a real human being has to review the output. We have to completely shift our mindset from blind trust to rigorous verification. That's the only way we stop these cascading errors from spreading like wildfire. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. If the very foundation of these models is built on predicting what simply sounds plausible rather than actually knowing what is true, can we ever reach a point where we fully trust them without a human verifying the facts? It's a fascinating, kind of scary question, and it's for sure going to define the next decade of technology. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep questioning, keep verifying, and I will see you next time.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more AI and technology content. Thanks for watching.